Imagine being handed a mysterious calabash by a stranger in the forest with strict instructions not to open it until they say so. Sounds simple, right? But what happens when curiosity, jealousy, and a little bit of village wahala gets in the way? Sit tight, grab your chin-chin, and let's dive right into the story. A long time ago, in the town of Ijabode, where some mornings began with cockcrows and smoky kitchens, while others began with someone shouting that their goats had disappeared. This particular morning started with both. Angela tied her wrapper tighter and hissed, "It's not even 7 o'clock and Mama Uzo's goat has started its madness." Prosper, who was waiting outside with 2 yellow kegs, chuckled. Maybe the goat is also tired of this village. Angela gave him a side eye. "If you like, keep laughing. One day, they will say your slippers disappeared and they found it on the goat's head." Angela and Prosper were childhood friends, the kind that could insult each other and still eat from the same plate. Prosper was calm, almost too calm sometimes, and Angela, let's just say her mouth was sharper than a knife. Their mothers had grown up together. Their fathers had once sold firewood side by side. Now both families lived next to each other with fences that were more for decoration than division. Today, they were going to fetch water from the stream, a task neither of them liked, but both had accepted as their regular village punishment. "I heard the water is clearer today," Prosper said as they walked. "Clear water doesn't carry itself, I beg. You better walk fast before that sun turns you into roasted yam," Angela said. The road to the stream was quiet at first, just birds, the sound of their footsteps, and the occasional rustle of lizards in the bush. And then they saw him. An old man, thin as broomstick, was coming toward them, or rather, struggling toward them. He had a massive wooden box on his head, not a small chest, but a large, dark box that looked like it belonged to a shrine or a museum. His wrapper was soaked in sweat. His hands shook. Every step he took looked like it might be his last. Angela froze. Prosper, wait, who is that?" Prosper paused, frowning. It looks like he's about to follow. The old man stopped in front of them, panting like someone who had run from Lagos to Ijabode. "My children," he said, with a voice that was very thin but clear, "please help me carry this box just a little further. My heart is nearby." Angela's eyes widened. She took 2 steps back. "Uncle, sorry, but we don't talk to strangers." Prosper hesitated a little before saying, "Angela, he's clearly struggling." "And he's clearly strange," she replied, folding her arms. "Which kind of old man carries coffin-sized box through this bush alone?" The man smiled weakly. "It's not a coffin, my dear. Just something I hold dear." Angela whispered sharply to Prosper, "Did you hear that? Even the thing inside the box is mysterious. Let's go, I beg." But Prosper didn't move. He looked at the man again, then dropped his kegs. "Sir, we'll help you." Angela almost screamed, "Are you mad, Prosper?" He looked at her calmly. "If he were your father, would you walk past?" Angela rolled her eyes dramatically, but finally dropped her own kegs. "Fine. If this turns to a Nollywood film, just know that I warned you." So together, the 2 friends lifted the box. It was heavier than they expected, but not impossible. The old man led the way, moving surprisingly fast for someone who had looked like he would have collapsed just a moment ago. After a short walk into a small clearing surrounded by tall trees, they reached a small hut. It was just in a corner, very small hut. "Put it down there," the old man said. They dropped it with a soft thud. The man sighed in deep relief and wiped his face. Thank you. You've done more than you know." Angela wiped her own forehead. "We're just helping. We still need to fetch our water before it finishes, you know." The man nodded and said, "Wait, please, I have something for you." He went inside and returned holding 2 covered calabashes. He handed the small one to Angela and the larger one to Prosper. Angela blinked. "Wait, is this our thank you gift?" The man smiled. "Yes. Don't open it until the 5th day, and when you do, make sure you are completely alone. This is very important." Angela forced a polite smile, but her face was tight. Prosper nodded respectfully. "Thank you so much, sir." As they turned to leave, the old man said one last thing. "The one who waits receives. The one who rushes regrets." They both looked at him and they began to walk away back to the stream. Angela kept quiet for a few minutes before she said, "So why is your own big and mine small?" Prosper smiled. "Maybe because I agreed to help him first." But Angela didn't laugh. She just kept on walking. In her heart, something started growing, something that was sharp and dark and greedy. That night, Angela lay on her bed, staring at the little calabash like it had insulted her entire generation. "It's small, so small," she whispered under her breath. She sat up and hissed, then lay back down, then sat up again. She was just restless. Prosper's calabash had been big, bigger than a baby's head, with golden carvings around it. Hers, it looked like something they used to serve groundnuts at naming ceremonies. "But why now? Why give me the small one?" she muttered to herself. Then she turned to face the wall, but the thoughts didn't stop. In her head, a battle was going on. "Maybe it's not about the size," one voice said. "But what if it is?" Another voice snapped back. "What if the big one has real treasure?" She remembered how Prosper had smiled and thanked the old man, how he had walked away holding his big calabash like it was a trophy. That image kept replaying in her mind, like a stubborn YouTube ad. Before long, her thoughts turned into planning. Then planning became strategy. Then strategy became movement. By midnight, the house was quiet. The only sounds were frogs croaking and dogs barking occasionally. Then she made her move. She slipped out of her bed like a thief and tiptoed to Prosper's window. She gently opened it. His snores were soft and steady. She waited a while. Then slowly she crept in. There on his small wooden table, beside his Bible and a nearly empty cup of garri, sat the calabash. Big, beautiful, and waiting. Angela's heart beat faster than a talking drum. She picked it up and quietly replaced it with hers. Then she slipped out just as silently as she came in. Back in her room, she locked her door and sat on the wall, cradling the big calabash like it was her firstborn child. She smiled. "All mine." The next day, Prosper picked up his calabash and frowned. "Wait, did it shrink?" He turned it over, looking very confused. Angela came out of her room, acting like she had just woken up. "Good morning," she said, with the kind of sweet tone people use when they've finished committing a crime. Prosper looked at her. Angela, this doesn't look like the one I had. She raised an eyebrow. What are you saying? I'm saying it feels different. Smaller. Angela shrugged. Well, maybe your eyes are still sleeping. I don't know. Maybe, Prosper said, but his eyes lingered on her a little longer than usual. Angela didn't go anywhere that day. She stayed inside, guarding her new possession like a lioness. She put it in her wardrobe, then under her bed, then in her cupboard, then back under her bed. Each time someone knocked on her door, her heart jumped. When her younger brother entered to borrow her comb, she almost slapped him with it. Are you blind? Do I look like a comb store? He left, grumbling. Angela locked her door again. The calabash sat there, waiting. By evening, her anxiety had turned to restlessness. She sat, stood, paced, and sat again. What is inside? Is it gold? Is it dollars? Is it khaki? She bit her nails, then stood again. She could feel her body itching to open it, but she remembered the warning. Don't open until the 5th day, and when you do, be alone. And it was only day 2. But come to think of it, how would they know if I open it now? She murmured. She walked to the door and locked it again, then turned slowly to the calabash. It's just small opening, she told herself, just to peep. She lifted it, but as soon as her fingers touched the cover, a strange sensation passed through her arms. She then paused immediately. Maybe I will wait. Just one more day. She pushed it under her bed and climbed onto her bed, eyes wide open in the dark. The 2nd day came. It was quiet and uneventful, but inside Angela's heart, a storm was brewing. She hadn't slept well. Her dreams were full of strange things, like a spinning calabash, shadows that whispered her name, and Prosper walking away from her, laughing with gold falling from his eyes. When she woke up, her bedsheet was soaked with sweat. But the moment her eyes landed on the calabash hidden under her bed, everything else faded. She sat up slowly and reached for it. It felt warm to the touch. It's just a pot, she whispered, as if trying to convince herself. It's not like it will bite, right? Still, she placed it back under the bed and stood. She opened the door, peeped into the hallway. Her mother was in the backyard. Her siblings had gone to fetch firewood, and her father had left earlier to the farm. The house was unusually quiet, the perfect silence for mischief. Angela moved quickly. She shut her door gently, locked it, and dragged a table in front of it. She was not going to take any chances whatsoever. The instructions that she should be alone still rang in her head, but she ignored the parts where they said, do not open until the 5th day. She pulled her curtains, closed the windows. Then, she sat on the floor and brought the calabash out. It stared back at her with its golden carvings, still beautiful, still mysterious. She placed it gently on her lap. I just want to know what's inside. I mean, it's mine, right? What's the worst that could happen? Her hands trembled as she lifted the lid. There was a sound, a low groaning sound, like the moan of something waking up after a long sleep. A blast of hot, foul-smelling wind exploded from the calabash and hit her face with such a force she fell backwards. The lid flew from her hand and hit the wall. The wind circled the room like a hungry animal, and then thick black mist poured out from the pot, filling every corner. Angela coughed and crawled back. What is this? Then it started. First, Her arms began to itch. A mild tingling, then her legs, then her back, then her scalp. Then it got worse. She started scratching uncontrollably. At first, it was a few hurried rubs, Then her nails dug in deeper. Then she was scratching like someone who had ants under her skin. Her rubbers came loose. She tore at her blouse. Blood appeared on her arms, and still she couldn't stop scratching. She screamed so loudly, but unfortunately, no one heard her, as everyone had gone out for the day. Her breathing became sharp and shallow. Her vision became blurred. Then she started to see things. She saw herself naked and bleeding, scratching in the middle of the village square. People pointed and laughed at her, while some covered their faces in horror. Some children cried, while some others threw stones at her. Then old men and women shook their heads in disappointment. And then suddenly she saw Prosper, standing on a hill above her, dressed in white, a bright light glowing around him. He looked down at her with sadness and disappointment. Suddenly, she heard a voice echoing through the mist. What is not yours will never favor you. She covered her ears, but the voice was inside her. Her own thoughts had turned against her. As if that wasn't enough, she started seeing things again. She saw herself, but this time a lot older, looking sick and abandoned, scratching endlessly in a dark hut, alone. The moment she saw this one, she shook her head in disbelief and screamed again. Meanwhile, the scratching did not stop. Angela was gradually losing her mind. And then, suddenly, there was silence. She collapsed, half conscious. The calabash was still open beside her, but the mist was slowly fading away. It was hours before she opened her eyes again, and this time it was almost evening, but her skin still burned. Angela managed to pull herself to her bed, shivering. She looked at her arms and saw long red scratches over them. Then she tried standing, but her legs felt very heavy. The calabash sat quietly on the floor, but its contents were gone. Whatever it had given her, it had taken something from her too. Angela tried to cover up her injured arms, so she changed into long sleeve. She used wrappers to cover her legs, and then she wiped her face properly. When her mother knocked later with food, she just said, "Mama, I'm not hungry, thank you," she said with a very shaky voice. The next day, she didn't come out much. She only stepped out in the evening, pretending to stretch. Prosper saw her and walked over. "Angela, are you okay?" She smiled. "Why wouldn't I be?" "You look different," Prosper said. Angela forced a smile. "Well, I'm okay. But why are you wearing a long sleeve in this heat?" Prosper said, looking at her. "Well, fashion before comfort," Angela said, smiling awkwardly. I've been thinking, are you sure the calabashes weren't switched?" She blinked. "What?" "I mean, it feels like mine is not the one I was given," Prosper said. Angela raised a brow. "Prosper, I don't know what you're talking about, please." Then, suddenly, the itchiness resumed, and she ran back inside her room. Prosper studied her for a moment, then nodded slowly. "Okay, what was that about?" he muttered to himself, and then he left. As she ran away, her heart pounded inside her body, and inside her room, she locked herself again. Her body would not stop itching. She started scratching her entire body all over again, from her head to her toes. Her flesh pulsed like something had entered inside her blood. She wept silently, still trying to keep her ordeal a secret. And for the first time in years, she whispered a prayer. And then she lay down and stared at the ceiling until sleep came like a thief in the night. By the fourth day, Angela was no longer the same girl who ran her mouth sharper than a knife. Her body had become a battlefield. The wounds she thought she could hide under her clothes now burned like fire under her skin. No ointment helped. She tried cold water, she tried soap and salt, she tried water and salt, she tried palm oil, but the more she fought it, the worse it got. Even her thoughts started to betray her. She began to see flashes, quick images that disappeared as fast as they came. She would blink and shake her head, and the images would vanish, but they always came back stronger. By midday, she started talking to herself. "You, this girl, you shouldn't have opened it," she muttered. "Mind your business," she answered herself, her voice very sharp. Later that day, she couldn't hold it anymore. She carried the calabash to the backyard to at least beg it to have mercy on her and make her stop itching so badly. "I just wanted something more. I didn't mean to take what's not mine. I'm sorry." She ran her hand over the carvings as if hoping the pot would understand. "Please, just undo it, please." "What are you doing?" a voice asked behind her. Angela jumped. It was Prosper. She quickly turned her back to him and wiped her face. Nothing. I'm just, taking fresh air." Prosper stepped closer. "Were you talking to it?" Angela shook her head. Nope." He looked at her again, long and hard this time. Then he walked away slowly. That night, the madness peaked. She had barely closed her eyes when her body jerked violently. The itching was back and stronger. She screamed, kicking her legs against the wall. She woke her siblings up. "Mama, Mama, Angela is shouting." Her mother rushed in with a lantern. "Angela, what is it?" Angela rolled on the floor, her hands tearing at her skin. "There are ants on me, oh! Fire! Mama, I'm burning! Fire, oh!" Her mother cried out, confused and terrified. They poured water on her, rubbed palm oil, but nothing seemed to stop the scratching. After a moment of madness, Angela passed out from exhaustion. Her family sat around her, panicking. What is wrong with her? Maybe it's spiritual. Her mother was losing her mind. She didn't know where to start from. Then, after a few minutes, Angela woke up. She made up her mind to swallow her pride and seek for help. She stood up, weak and trembling, but managed to make her way to Prosper's house. She knocked once, then twice. He opened the door in his boxers. His eyes were still full of sleep. Angela, is that you?" Angela burst into tears. I did it." He held the door wider. "Come inside." She stepped in and sat on the floor, hugging herself like a child. "I switched it," she said, crying. "I took your calabash. Mine was small. I was just angry. I thought it was unfair." Prosper sat across from her, silent. She looked up. "I opened it on the second day. I couldn't wait. And ever since then, my body won't stop burning. I see things and I hear voices. I feel like I'm losing my mind." Prosper inhaled deeply. His heart was breaking, both from betrayal and from how broken she looked. Then we will have to go back." "What?" Angela blinked. "To the stream, to the old man. He must help us. He is the only one that can help us. We have to plead with him." Her lips shook. You are not angry?" Well, I am sad but not angry. So they got ready and left before dawn. Angela wore a large scarf over her head. She could barely walk without stumbling. So Prosper held her hand the entire way. When they arrived at the man's house, the hut was magically gone. Angela stopped. She looked around. There were the same trees, the same clearing, but there was no hut, and definitely no footprints. It was as if no one had ever been there before. Just empty space and silence. She then dropped to her knees. Oh God, ẹ gbà mí o, he's gone. He's gone, oh, I'm doomed. Prosper scanned the area. He walked around in circles, touched the tree trunks, shouted and called on the old man. But nothing. Maybe he moved, he said. Angela cried into her wrapper. She knew she was finished. So they waited. They both remained at the spot for another hour, pacing, staring at the ground like it might open and reveal the old man's hut. But nothing happened. The hut did not reappear. And when the sun began to rise properly and the birds returned to their usual noise, Prosper sighed and turned to Angela. Let's go back. We'll come again in the afternoon. Angela didn't respond. At this point, she was tired. She just stood up and followed. Her face was blank and her body was still on fire. By midday, they returned to the same place. Still, there was no hut and no sign of the old man. Prosper scratched his head. He can't just disappear into the thin air. People don't vanish like that now. Angela was confused as well. Maybe he was never a person. They sat on a flat stone. Both of them felt tired and defeated. Until Prosper stood up suddenly. Let's go to the stream. Angela frowned. Why? That's where we met him first. Maybe he is there again. It was a long shot, but they had nothing else to lose. So they made their way down to the stream path. The road was quiet except for the wind that was blowing the trees. As they neared the final bend that led to the stream, they both stopped at once. Angela gasped. Prosper's mouth opened, but no words came out. There he was, the old man, carrying the same large strange box on his head, sweat trickling down his temples. His wrapper was soaked once again. He walked slowly, as if no time had passed, as if his hut hadn't vanished into the thin air. They ran forward. Sir! Prosper shouted. The old man stopped and turned slowly. His face was calm. Angela dropped to her knees. Please, I'm sorry. I didn't listen. I didn't wait. I took what wasn't mine. I was greedy. Please have mercy on me. I have learnt my lessons, I swear. Prosper bowed his head. She came to me, sir. She told me everything. We came to ask for mercy. Please have mercy on her. The old man studied them briefly. He placed the box gently on the ground and walked towards Angela. And without saying a word, he touched her forehead. Angela fainted. Prosper rushed forward, but the man raised his hand and said, Leave her. So they waited, even though Prosper was very worried, but they waited. Soon, after 5 minutes, Angela opened her eyes slowly. She sat up, confused, looking at her arms. The itching had stopped. The burning was gone. The voices were silent. What happened? She asked. Prosper helped her sit up properly. You fainted when he touched you. Angela turned to the old man, tears already welling up in her eyes. Oh my God, thank you. Thank you so much. I don't deserve this. The man said nothing. Instead, he turned to Prosper. Today is the 5th day, he said quietly. You may now open what is yours. Go, find a quiet place and open it alone. Prosper didn't waste time. He had put the calabash in a sack bag that afternoon and brought it with him. So he made his way into the bush nearby and found a quiet clearing with a single tall tree in the center. He sat down under the shade, placed the calabash on his lap and closed his eyes. And then he broke open the calabash. A soft, cool breeze rushed out, and then a warm golden light filled the atmosphere and space around him. Inside the calabash was more than just gold. There were beautiful clothes, fine shoes, jars of oil, baskets of fruits, clothing. Everything he ever wished for was inside the calabash. Then he heard a voice say, "Because you helped, because you waited, because you were not greedy, you will never lack." Prosper couldn't help it. He fell to his knees and wept. The kind of tears that come from a full heart. He stayed there for a while, basking in the calm before returning. When he returned to the stream, Angela stood up. She looked at him. "You opened it?" He nodded. "What was inside?" she asked, smiling sadly. "Everything beautiful," Prosper replied. Angela looked at him and said, "You deserve it." Prosper placed his hands on her shoulder. "It's okay, Angela. My wealth extends to you as well." They sat for some time beside the stream. The breeze danced through the leaves above, brushing away the heaviness that had lingered for days. Angela leaned back against the tree, her head tilted to the side. "I thought I was finished," she said softly. Prosper smiled. "You were, almost." She shot him a look, and they both burst into quiet laughter. The first real laugh in days. "I don't know how to thank you. You could have turned your back on me, but you didn't," she said. Prosper shrugged. "We've known each other since we had no front teeth. You think one calabash can scatter that?" Angela lowered her eyes. "Still, thank you." They stood up together, picked up the sack of items from the golden calabash, and went home. When they reached the village, people stared. Her skin had started to clear. Even her steps had more steadiness to it. Her mother ran out of the house in shock. "Angela, is that you?" Angela hugged her tightly, smiling. "I'm okay now, Mama." That night, Prosper sat on his veranda, thinking of how his life had changed in just 5 days, and with one small calabash. From that day onwards, he never lacked anything. Moral lesson: don't let greed push you to take what doesn't belong to you. Angela rushed and suffered, but Prosper waited and was blessed. Sometimes what looks small is the real blessing. And when you help others with a clean heart, good things will come back to you. Okay, Naya Paddies, thank you so much for watching my videos till the very end. You are the real MVP Paddy. I hope you enjoyed this one. Please give this video a thumbs up because me self try. Remember, don't let anyone dim your shine. Until next time, Ngwanu, bye.